Many people today instinctively recoil from the concept of a brand. The word brand brings with it some disturbing associations: heartless commercialism, crushing uniformity, blandness, and a dumbed-down experience. There are plenty of bad brands around, so it's understandable that blame gets attached to the whole underlying notion of brand itself. It becomes tempting to suppose that ideally we live in a world that was entirely unbranded. But in fact, the idea of a brand is a really important one. A good economy needs good brands. Essentially, a brand is a constellation of qualities. It's a personality in the material realm. The bad associations around brand spring from the way that often the personality feels crude, annoying, or stupid. Tommy Hilfiger projects a vision of life in which group sports are central and self-doubt has little glamour. That can be a pity. Consider by contrast how in the early part of the 20th century, Virginia Woolf and her family and friends created a brand, known today as Bloomsbury, that stressed the centrality of conversation, flowers, flowing garments, and sexual experimentation. A brand where group sports and cheeriness had very little glamour. But a brand doesn't only symbolize a set of ideas, it's about standardizing and reproducing them. Again, that can sound depressing, but only because we're thinking of some pretty uninspiring things being repeated. In the 16th century, the Italian architect Andrea Palladio worked out some basic designs for villas, churches, and public buildings in the classical style. As his ideas spread, they were branded and universalized. They were, over the centuries, taken up all over the world. In the US, Thomas Jefferson bought big into the Palladian brand. His own house, Monticello, and the University of Virginia are key examples of franchise architecture, just as much as is the design for McDonald's restaurants. The key issue isn't free creativity versus the cold hand of the brand. Rather, it's between a good, wonderful, inspiring brand like Palladio and less impressive burger brands. Brands help to overcome the unreliability of individuals. The brand offers the template and the rules so that you don't need to be a genius to bring about something of genius, which is very good news because there are very few geniuses around and we don't want good things to have to depend on such a rare phenomenon. Most brands have logos. The logo is a visual cue that immediately focuses our minds on particular qualities that we can expect of the location or object that carries it. Again, logos come in for great criticism. They seem to be everywhere and to ruin the skyline. But it isn't the logo that's the problem. Once again, it's the underlying qualities that the logo is representing. For many, the Christian lamb is a deeply cheering logo. Ideally, the aim shouldn't be to eliminate brands. The big goal should be to elevate the concept of a brand. We actually need and hugely benefit from good things being developed as brands. We need more good things to shift from being, as they are now, cottage industries to being global brands. For example, it's a great pity that the British psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott, who died in 1971, remains just one individual who gave birth to a few books and lectures that coloured the education of present-day psychoanalysts, rather than, as should have happened, a brand that would outlive him, complete with centres, films, logos, perhaps restaurants, and a clear ideology to communicate to the world. The amoral approach to economics and business says that a good brand is simply a brand that's strong and popular. It doesn't matter very much what the content of the brand happens to be. By this way of thinking, Krispy Kreme is a great brand because of its global success in getting people to eat flavoured, fattening donuts. But we should really be asking a different question, which is, what makes a brand admirable in broad human terms? What makes it good in the sense of contributing to human flourishing and helping us to lead the best lives we can? A good brand is one that's built around a set of genuine virtues. We need a lot more of those brands. Brands invite the recognition that great things are not usually done by individuals acting in heroic isolation. At some point, every good idea, every important insight should go through the process of becoming a brand, because this just means that it would widen its power in the world and other people can join in. The world is in great need of better brands.